Hello and welcome to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, your certified personal trainer, intuitive healer, cosmic energy reader, a mother, a wife, and I'm here to help you become the best version of yourself in 2020 with all that's going on in this amazing year. And I use the word amazing year because it is just that. We need to change our mindset. We need to change our thinking. If we keep focusing on how this is just a terrible experience and it's overwhelming and we are not moving forward, that's exactly what you're going to receive in this time. Because it is really about what you're thinking is what you're creating. And I want to remind you of that. I'm going to say that again. What you are thinking is what it is you are creating. You are the creator to every experience you are having. Every experience that we all are having collectively, we are creating the outcome of this. You get to choose. You get to decide how you like to create this experience of 2020. After all, we have 5 months left to this year. And you get to decide how you like to see that 5 months play out for you. You are the main character in this book. You are the main character, and you get to decide. You get to play the role you want to play. So with that being said, I'd like to remind you to share, like, and comment on today's show. And also for those of you who have Roku and Amazon Fire TV, you can check us out there. And I do believe we are streaming live on YouTube today, so those of you who are watching, you can check us out there as well. Ian, I like to set the forecast, but before I do set the forecast for today, I just want to give a big shout out to all my advertising sponsors. As I do have a handful of them, there is a flyer with their information, so if you're not able to catch what I say, feel free to read that flyer. We have Chevy Simpson, who's our intuitive guide. And then we have Susan Joy Mitchell. She's an author of 3 books now. She's got a 3rd book coming in, which is called Journey. You can find that book. Will be available on Amazon and Barnes & Nobles. And of course, our other 2 books, which is Vision. And also, I believe the other one is Lucky Starfish. Then we have Gail Nicholson. She is our resilience coach and metaphysical practitioner. Moving into our next one, Virginia Sun. She's our subconscious mind specialist, intuitive, and loves helping people unplugging from the matrix. Then we have Gabrielle, and her name's on the board there, her last name, so I don't screw it up. She's a medical intuitive CEO and founder at Alive Health Solution. And we also have Linda Boney, who's our feng shui inspiration consultant. And then, of course, Nick Rafter, our real estate agent. For those of you who are looking for a new home, I'm sure many of you are, and he's also our journalist. So those are our advertising sponsors. And any of you out there who's interested in becoming an advertising sponsor, feel free to email healingwithin76@gmail.com. Also want to give a big shout out to Bobby, who makes all of this possible. And did you guys know that we are in our season 3 and episode 1? We've been going for quite some time. I will be celebrating my, I guess it's 2-year anniversary come January 20th, 2021. Interesting date, I'd say. Anyway, with all that being said, let's set the energy for today. As it is August 2nd, 2020, if you had a chance to catch out my live that I did a little while ago, I spoke about today's energy regarding where the moon is, and also the sun's energy. And today is August 2nd, 2020. So that really all means about the changes we are undergoing today. And that's the energy for today. So do not sit back and say, I can make changes tomorrow because of the energy. Tomorrow's a whole different energy. Let's see what the cards have to offer us today. See what chakra, what number, and what affirmation can help you get through today with your changes. Let's shuffle it up. Whoops, there goes our card as it flies off and out of the deck. Ah, loving it. New relationship. And when I was speaking about my live earlier today, I was actually speaking about that because when we think about the date itself, today, the second is all about partnerships. And when we think about a partnership, whether it's a business partnership or an intimate partnership, or even a partnership that you have with a sibling, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, and even that person standing on the line in front of you who might be a stranger, Today's a great day for a new relationship. How can you develop a new relationship? How can you take the relationship that you currently have and change it so something new can come from that relationship? Because that's really what it's all about, is making changes. And not just for today, but any day, you can incorporate change into any relationship. So for those of you who are single out there, and I'm sure you're interested in hearing this one, this card is representing you have an opportunity of meeting somebody. It's a new relationship. So make sure you get outside today, whether it's going to the grocery store or just taking your dog out for a walk. If you don't have a dog, just go for a walk yourself. It's a good possibility you're going to meet somebody new today. It's very important to stay grounded. That's the chakra associated. Red is all about the grounding chakra in reference to getting rooted, staying connected to the earth, and allowing yourself to be more focused and also being more balanced in what you do, making decisions. When you are not grounded, you do not make really good decisions. So you want to make sure you are grounded so you can make those decisions on a snap of a finger. Your numbers 2 and 8, the 2 energy, which is so funny because if we actually look at this number backwards, it's the actual date today, August 2nd. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I don't make these things up. So that 2 energy is again about the partnerships that you're having today, the relationships, the partnership in reference to your career, partnership in reference to your health, the partnership in reference to your intimate relationships. Anything is a partnership. That 8 energy is about the harmony and balance that you want to bring in to those partnerships, even if it is a career partnership. Let's bring those numbers together, and you get a 10. That 10 energy, the 1 is about a new beginning. There's something new taking place today. There is something new unfolding. There's a brand new door that you are opening up today. Use that energy, that new door for today, to create something new going forward. The 0 is representing the potential and choices that you have ahead of you. So this is an amazing card for today, for the amazing energy we do have going on for today. So that is our card for today's energy. Should you be interested in receiving your own Cosmic Energy Soul reading, feel free to email healingwithin76@gmail.com, and I'll be more than happy to schedule an appointment with you so you can find out exactly what's in store for you for the remaining portion of 2020, and of course for the entire month of August, as August is a very powerful, magnificent, and I'm going to say magical month. After all, when you turn that 8 on its side, you get the infinity sign. Anything's possible in August. With all that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to be really excited to introduce my 2 guests to you today, as they've been here before, and we're going to have a part 2 of a lovely conversation. We'll be right back.
Hi there, my name is Chevy Simpson. As an intuitive business guide, I help female service-based business owners to grow their business using their intuition, helping you to release the blocks and limits preventing your growth and allowing you to get the aligned action steps to take to grow your business. You can reach me at sherry@sherrysimpson.com, SHERRI @sherrysimpson, SIMPSON.com. I look forward to helping you grow your business soon. Namaste.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. And for those of you who are just tuning in right now with me, please share, like, and comment on today's show. And for those of you who are just tuning in, know that our card for today is all about the new relationship, that everybody has a possibility of meeting somebody new today, or even developing a better relationship with yourself. So use today's energy to really step outside and come out of your comfort zone, come out of being in the house, and see what possibilities you have. Get grounded though, and being outside will actually help you get grounded as you connect closer to the earth. Your number was 2 and 8, so it's about the partnership and also the abundance and the harmony that comes in with relationships. With that being said, I want to dive right into introducing you to my guest today. I have a new tongue today, guys, so just be prepared that, I might be a little tongue twisted. After all, I'm back here in the studio, very excited, very happy to be back in my second home. Yay! So I'd like to introduce my guest today. I have Chevy Simpson and also Nick Rafter. So hello, guys. How are the two of you today?
Good.
Hi, I'm doing well. How you doing, Nick?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Excellent. So, Chevy, let's dive right into the fact that this is like a part 2 of, what was it, like 3 weeks ago that the two of you on the show?
I think so.
I think it was,
Yeah.
it was a bit longer than that. I think it was in the middle of June, it's about 6 weeks ago.
Really? Was it that long?
Okay.
It just seems like yesterday. So based on our reunion for today in this part 2 of the regression progression for Nick's progress here, how would you like to go about just sharing with the viewers what we're going to be doing today?
I just want to ask Nick some questions and see, what his experience was like, if anything has shifted or changed for him. And then I sent him some information. It would be great for us to have a conversation about that.
Excellent. And before we dive into all that, just for our viewers, because maybe some of them did not get a chance to see the part 1 to this, but if you can just explain what a past life regression is so the viewers will have a better understanding.
Absolutely. I believe that each of us is a piece of the light. That aspect of our soul has many different experiences in different places and times. So it's my belief that we've had a lot of past lives. So what I did with Nick was I took him into a hypnotic state where he was open to both the subconscious and the superconscious mind so that he then could access a past life. And he was very descriptive in that. So I want to know if what we shifted actually made a positive impact for him.
Awesome. So there you have what the definition is for past life regressions. So go ahead, Chevy, take it away.
All right. So, Nick, I want to know what has shifted, if anything. Has there been any changes that were subtle and anything that was drastic?
Well, I will say that my entire energy shifted to, I recently told somebody, the most positive, optimistic energy I've had in about 15 years. And I don't know if that's directly related to our session, but it happened around the same time as just after that. And I think it had at least somewhat to do with it.
That makes sense. Essentially, when we're healing the past, it's almost as though, we're shifting the energy and stuff kind of happens. And it is energetic, even though you had a mental plus an emotional experience. And then it may take some time for people for it to actually, trickle into the physical.
Yeah. And I think that it also really answered a lot of questions that I had but never really looked at exploring. And so it fit a lot of pieces to the puzzle, I guess, is a good way of saying it. That if my entire existence is a puzzle, I managed to get a whole section of it done from it. It made me, people should go back and watch it, but basically what happened is you took me back to a past life where I was in the medical field at a time when medicine was seen as kind of like heresy. And I then realized afterwards, the first thing I think I said to you is this why I never wanted to be a doctor growing up? Is this why I was the only profession I never had any interest in? And not only that, but is it also why the field itself scares me a little bit? I'm not afraid to go to the doctor, but I'm afraid of the whole idea of the medical field kind of like riddles me with anxiety. Like it just feels like a really difficult field to be in. So it answered that question, but what I felt too is it also answered questions as to why I am interested in biology, why I'm interested, especially right now with the coronavirus, why I'm interested in the medical aspect of it and the history of viruses. And I answered that question as well. And it also made me trust my intuition more. I really can't explain how it connected the two, but when I was back in those days, you were asking, in the hypnosis, you were asking me how I was feeling, and then guiding me to the next phase of it. And what was interesting is that how I was feeling, kind of guided me into, like told me what to expect next. So I knew the next place you were going to take me is going to be somewhere that's going to be scary. And I knew that on my intuition. So now that I started listening to my intuition, I began realizing all the times in the past where my intuition was telling me something and I wasn't listening, and I should have listened. And so it's really sort of taught me how to listen to it now. And that's where a lot of this optimism comes from, is I think that my intuition was telling me that. And I was like, I don't want to get too optimistic about the world. I'm just being delusional. And so I've learned really to sort of listen to that and hear what it's saying.
That's amazing, Nick. And it's very, very cool that you recognize that you had a sense of what was coming before it was happening, because it was almost like every time I took you to a new place, you increased your trust in your intuition. And now you've carried that into real life instead of in hypnosis.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because I had no other option. I mean, we spoke a little bit about before we did the hypnosis, how I was a little bit scared of it. I was frightened of it because I was frightened of being alone, and I have a fear of being alone, and I didn't want to be lost there. And so you basically told me I'll be there with you, and blah. And so in that moment, I felt like I didn't have anything else but to trust but my intuition. And that was the only thing that was, other than you, telling me where to go, what to expect, and giving me the warning. Because I wanted the warning. I wanted to say, I don't know where she's taking me. Somebody tell me what's going on, like what to expect. And that's the only voice that I heard besides yours. And so once I realized that voice exists now in my current life, and has always existed because I recognized it. I recognized exactly what that voice was. I've heard it before. So once I recognized it, I said, let me see what this is telling me now. So I basically tuned into my intuition in that past life, which I found fascinating, actually.
Excellent. So can you give us an example of something since the hypnosis that you've actually used your intuition for?
Sure. Actually, it's funny. This is a really funny story. I actually have a vacation booked next year that I postponed from this year. And of course, everything going on, it's been up in the air of whether or not we're going to go, right? And we don't know. And so I took a moment in meditation, listened to my intuition, and said, what is my intuition telling me is going to happen next year? My intuition was telling me clearly you're going. And so I was able to clear my mind and make sure it wasn't just me being delusional, me being, trying to convince myself something isn't true. And just listen to it, and it told me, it's going to happen. So I was able to sort of to step back and be able to feel that, and tell my mother because my parents coming with me, tell my parents how I feel about our options of vacationing next year. And one of the other things it told me was about, oddly enough, the weather on a specific day. And my intuition was, should I go to this place this day, will the weather be okay? And my intuition said, yes, it'll be okay. So we booked the excursion or whatever to go, and the weather turned out to be beautiful, beautiful weather. And I started trusting it, and there were times where my intuition told me, don't do this, don't eat something that's gonna make you sick. And then I listened and I ate it and I got sick. So various times like that, on a sort of a very micro level, that I've listened to it, and now that I know what it is, it's basically that I go back to it all the time now, and it's been really, really a great experience because I'm able to clear my mind in a way that I never have before, and listen to what my intuition is telling me, and trusting it, and it hasn't been wrong, and I don't think it's going to be wrong, and so those are just like little minor examples that I'm experiencing. I'm still really kind of playing with it, and still really learning about it, so I'll have plenty more examples in the future.
This is so interesting.
I love that, Nick, and I got a huge the hair on my arms all stood up when you said, yes, I'm going on vacation next year. I got the confirmation for you. Yes.
Yes. And I want to ask Nick something before Chevy moves on with him. In regards to the experience of the past life regression, do you feel more confident utilizing your intuition now than you've done in the past?
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think I even utilized it at all in the past. I think I didn't recognize what it was.
Now, when
I
you
think
get
that's the important thing.
when you do work with when you are hearing your intuition, that's the way I'm hearing to say it. When you are hearing your intuition, what is your cue of knowing that that's actually your intuition speaking to you versus, let's say, as you said before, your imagination? What's the cue word there?
Yeah, it's physical symptoms actually is what I think I really feel. It's do I have it's emotional and physical. Am I sad about this or am I excited about it? If my intuition is telling me something is bad, sometimes I get a little like turn in the stomach, a little butterfly, anxiety pinging in the stomach. If it's good, I get like the sense of excitement, And so for a good example is with the vacation, my intuition actually told me about the vacation that I postponed that I wasn't going to go on it last year before any of this happened. We booked the vacation. I was supposed to go away this past March, and my intuition at the time, and I didn't realize that's what it was until now, was telling me you're not going. I couldn't get excited about it. I didn't really want to go. I felt really like, I wanted to stay close to home. I wanted maybe push it another year, and I just couldn't get into it. And I didn't understand why. And so now I have a different reaction to the next vacation, where it's like, this is going to be thrilling. I'm going to go to this place. This is going to be wonderful. And, it's a different feeling. And a lot of it is physical. It's feelings that I have, like anxiety or excitement. It's whether or not I feel sad about something or happy about something, excited versus anxious. And so that's how I can sort of play the towel. If there's something I want to eat and I just close my eyes and meditate, I feel kind of like the upset stomach or like the heartburn, for a second. And that's my body telling me don't eat that. Whereas if it's something good, I actually will taste something that I enjoy, like strawberries or something, and have that taste on my mouth, even if it's not strawberries I'm eating, as my body telling me this is good, you should eat this. And so that's how I figured it out.
This is so fascinating. I find this so fascinating that from his experience with you, Sherry, that he's actually now really able to connect on a much deeper level with his intuition, not just in reference to the intuition, but he's got specific, like the emotional and the tasting and the smelling. So I just find that to be amazing. Now, Sherry, based on that experience that he has, would it be different for other people as well, or would they all have similar experiences?
It could be different. It would depend on kind of what pathways that we've opened for them, because it sounds like Nick was pretty ready to open up that path, and it felt like, he was probably kind of trusting himself, but needed some kind of, validation that what he was doing in the past was actually what he suspected he was doing.
Makes sense. What we're going to need to do is going to take a commercial break, but before we do so, Sherry, let the viewers know how they can reach you, because I'm sure they are fascinated to get to know you.
Absolutely, thank you. My website is sherrysimpson.com, and my email address is sherry@sherrysimpson.com.
Awesome. And Nick, how about you? Where can they meet you?
Sure, they can find me at corcoran.com/Nick Rafter or at Nick Rafter, NICKRAFTER, @gmail.com.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have more and more on this. So we'll be right back.
I'm Nick Rafter, native New Yorker and realtor. Looking for a new home or selling your current one is a stressful process. I'm here to make it a lot easier. I work with sellers, buyers, renters, and landlords in the 5 boroughs of New York City and in Nassau and Suffolk counties. My brokerage, Corcoran, offers state-of-the-art services to allow you to market your property to the greatest number of potential buyers or renters. And if you're the one moving, we have thousands of listings ready for you to check out. So give me a call at 347-610-9765 today, and let's talk about how to make your decision to move a lot less stressful.
Hello everyone, my name is Linda Boney. I'm a Feng Shui consultant and speaker. I'm the owner of Feng Shui Inspirations. Get inspired, move forward. I assist my clients in setting their space up for success, creating better health, wealth, and relationships. www.fengshui.com support.fengshuiinspirations.com 347-223-0532. Thank you and blessings.
If you are turned off by conventional medicine and their mantra, "Do you want meds for that?" there's a better option. I'm Gabriella Mihalichin, medical intuitive and healer. Let me help you find the root cause of your illness and guide you through healing. My intuitive method directs your body to heal itself and removes barriers to healing. I invite you to schedule a session today at alivehealthsolutions.com.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. For those of you who are just joining in, remember to share, like, and comment on today's show. And I have my two amazing guests here, Chevy Simpson and also Nick Rafter. And we are talking about past life regressions. Nick just shared an experience he had from his last session that he had about 6 weeks ago. And we're going to continue with that. So I'm going to let Chevy take the table and the mic. Chevy, go ahead.
Absolutely. I actually wanted to talk a little bit about something called future projection. Do you know what that is, Joanne?
No, and because I don't, let's share with the viewers because I'm sure they don't.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of times people want to manifest something. So let's say you want to create a new car, and right now you don't have the income for that car, so you're trying to figure out how. Essentially, when you're tapped into your intuition and how you uniquely manifest, you can actually future project and kind of tap on the future to say, hey, is it probable that I'm going to have this car in 6 months? Is it probable that I'm going to, come up with the money and have that car in 3 months? So essentially, when you know yourself at soul level and you know how you create into the world, you can start asking future projection questions.
Oh, nice. And what would some of those questions be?
Well, it would depend on what you were going to manifest. So essentially, what I did for Nick, I think it was yesterday, was I created a little bit of an Akashic record reading for him. So in the show that we had previously, we did past life regression. So we were looking at his soul and an experience his soul had in a different body. When you're doing future projection, usually you're projecting into this life to determine what's coming and how you can create something and whether it's even possible.
Interesting.
So yeah, first I wanted to ask Nick if he had any questions on the information I gave him from his Akashic record.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering, what, and I don't know if this is specific here, but how do I know what time frame some of this information is? I wasn't clear what is like imminent versus what is decades from now. Is there a time frame, or is time frame just what I make it up, how I do it?
Good question. Essentially, the time is only active or present on Earth, and so your solar spirit time is, it's not even, doesn't exist the same way. So when you're manifesting something, you really want to tap into your human time and ask questions about what is probable. If you ask about what's possible, just about everything's possible. So I like to use the word probable because it's more than likely this will happen in how much time. So just like you ask your intuition, is there something you want to create so we can ask your intuition some questions? Do you have a goal, something you want to manifest in?
Yeah, I'm thinking, for example, I was interested in whether or not, I will get novels published, and I will be a published author, and that was one of the things that I was thinking about future projection. And now my intuition tells me that yes, that will happen. It doesn't make it clear, or it doesn't really, I don't get a very positive vibe that it's going to happen imminently, meaning in the next couple of years, but that it will happen. And that, oddly enough, this is funny. One of the things I think my intuition told me when I was asking about these goals was it was definitely pushing me towards the idea that these goals are going to happen, a decade or more from now, and that's okay. And then the one name that popped up in my intuition was telling me was Regis Philbin. That he didn't become Regis Philbin, the world renowned TV host, until he was in his 50s. And the day after I felt that, he passed away.
Mm.
So
Oh, wow.
it was odd that he became like, it sort of was thrown in my face, so to speak, and put up there in the front. And so I've read that into my intuition as saying that goal will happen a little bit later in life than you expected it to happen. And so there's still a lot of time before that will happen, which is why I wanted to ask about the time frame, because I was feeling that, like, oh, you might not have success as an author until you are after 50, so don't give up on it, because there's still a lot of time before I'm 50. Don't get discouraged by it, because people like Regis Philbin didn't get there until their 50s either, and still lived a long life of success. And so that's interesting, because it's one of the things that my intuition is telling me that isn't what I want to hear, and isn't necessarily positive for me, because I'm thinking, oh, I want to be published before I'm 40, or I want to be doing this before I'm 40. And my intuition is clearly telling me no, that is not going to be the case. But you will do it, but it's not going to happen that soon. So, so that was a different experience than the really optimistic, cynical stuff. Was that it was really sort of serious about giving me a realistic time frame, which I think plays into the future projection, which what you were talking about.
Now, Sherry, I have a question based on
Absolutely.
based on his
Go ahead.
comment, and I'm sure some of the viewers are probably thinking this as well. Based on the fact that his intuition is telling him that yes, he will definitely publish the book, but in regards to that he feels not for a really long time. Based on the work that you're doing with him, is it possible that you can, or I don't know if it's so much about you can, but is it possible based on the work about shifting his thought process in reference to, rather than thinking something's going to happen so much further away, that it can actually manifest into the now?
Yeah, there's a couple of different answers to that. Essentially, what I kept thinking was, yes, he can collapse time. So he could probably get it to happen in 5 years instead of, 10 or more. Essentially, it's about a couple of different things. For one, I always like to tell people something like writing a book, that's something you do, not something you manifest. But getting your book as a top seller or number one on the list or something like that, that would be something that you manifest. So do you understand the difference?
Yeah, and I've actually written the book already. So for me now, it's about manifesting it. But that's
Okay.
Another question that I had, that I think that I was trying to get out of, and I really couldn't get it out, but I figured out how to say it. Is the future projection, if there is the time frame, and I'm feeling the time frame, is that set in stone? Is there any way, I could change the future? It's set in stone.
Yes, you can change the future. It's not set in stone.
Oh, it's not set in stone.
But oftentimes, no, I don't believe it's set in stone at all. I believe that we create our own realities, and if that's the case, you can bring in the rope and bring it in sooner, or you can do something in order to push it further away.
Because I'm thinking now, as I go back, and I was talking to Joanne about this, one-on-one on our telephone conversations, that I'm thinking back to past times in my life where I now know it was my intuition telling me something, right? And there are times I could think of where my intuition was telling me something, and then I changed it. One example I think I told Joanne was my intuition was telling me that I would never be a really good broadcaster on the radio. That I don't enunciate words very well, and I have a really thick accent, and I tend to mumble a lot, and so I would never be radio cleared to do like a morning show. And I did do that, and a lot of that now looking back was me, saying, no, I'm going to do. I don't care what you say, I'm going to do it. Like fighting what I thought was my cynicism, but what was it? My intuition telling me that I couldn't do it, and then me saying I won't accept this. And I'm going to change it. Because I definitely did sort of manifest it, where I said I'm definitely going to do this because I want to do it. I don't care what my mind is telling me. So now I'm wondering in the future if I hear something in my intuition telling me that I can't do something or something won't happen, if I have the ability to change it, could I? And that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, absolutely. you can start asking intuition some questions. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll literally write down a series of questions so that you don't have to keep going in and out of logical mind and back into intuition. It's just a little easier to read the question and then get back in instead of have to write the question, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Okay. Perfect. And so then essentially when you've got these questions written down, you can say at the top of the page, okay, my goal is to be a bestseller, a best-selling author. And so you might want to clarify that. Is it only one book? Is it 2 books? Is it 5 books? What are we talking? Because a number 1 best-selling author might be your 5th book. So maybe that's the issue,
right,
that you haven't clarified exactly what that means. So the other thing that I would do, I would say, is it possible for me to have 10 bestsellers? And I would get a yes or a no, or my intuition would tell me what was going on. And then I would say, is it probable for me to do that in 10 years? Is it probable for me to do it in 5 years, in 3 years, in 1 year, in 6 months? And you'll get yes and no's. So when you know what's probable, what I would then do is create a list of action steps that I could take in order to make that so. And then I would ask, is this action step in alignment with doing this in 6 months? You know what I mean? So you're tying it all together. Yeah. And then you can ask more questions. Perfect. You can ask more questions like, are there actions I'm missing that would allow this to be probable in 3 months?
Okay.
So you see how you're just kind of digging a little bit more, but your logical mind is going to want to know some information, and your intuition is not going to be able to give you everything if you're not able to receive it.
Right. And it's funny you said that, because one of the questions I did ask that I didn't really wait for an answer for, maybe I'll dig back into it now, was that question of whether or not it's the 1st book or the 5th book. Because my thought was, well, if success is that far away, then maybe it is a book I haven't written yet. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's one of the ideas. Because I have this sort of intuition in my mind when I come up with a story idea, and I start, because there's several different novels that I want to write that I have ideas for, that I sort of feel like, oh, this is it. Like, this is the idea that's going to sell. This is the idea that's going to become a movie or a TV series. And now I'm hearing that my intuition is telling me that, but I'm also not going to finish writing that for years. Like, I know that already. I know it's going to be years. In one case, there's a book I want to write that's based on history, the current history, that I can't even finish yet because that part of history hasn't finished yet. So, I know that those are going to be books that if I do publish them and they're successful, they're not going to happen for many years. I'm thinking maybe that's the thing. Maybe I'll have 3 or 4 published books before the one that hits the top comes out, and that's why it's pushing me to my early 50s.
I need to jump in here, guys, because we have to go to a commercial break. Okay. So before we do that, Nick, let the viewers know where they can reach you.
Sure. Corcoran.com/Nick Rafter or nickrafter@gmail.com.
And Sherry, where can they reach you?
I'm at sherrysimpson.com or sherry@sherrysimpson.com.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to have the conclusion of this part and see where we go from there. We'll be right back.
Blessings. My name is Rianya Sun, and I'm a subconscious mind specialist. I help people to unplug from the matrix, and I am the creator of the miracle healing technique. And I love to assist people to be sovereign and free. You can find more information at miraclehealingtechnique.com or find me on my personal Facebook page, Rianya Sun, VRYANNAIASUN.
When you open yourself up to actual energy work, makes that recovery progress so much faster. That recovery is possible. You do not have to live as a victim until your last days. You have unbelievable strength, and I know that because you're still here. Do you want to create something completely unrecognizable with your life? I can show you how.
Hi there, my name is Chevy Simpson. As an intuitive business guide, I help female service-based business owners to grow their business using their intuition, helping you to release the blocks and limits preventing your growth and allowing you to get the aligned action steps to take to grow your business. You can reach me at Sherry at sherrysimpson.com, SHERRI at sherrysimpson, SIMPSON.com. I look forward to helping you grow your business soon. Namaste.
Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, and I have my two amazing guests, Sherry and Nick, here with us. And we are speaking about past life regressions and also being able to sort of, I'm going to use the word sort of sped up what our intentions are. I think that's a good way of saying it. Is that correct, Sherry? Is speeding it up, maybe?
Yes, and I think I like collapse time because
Okay.
I think as a human, we think that time is a path, and I think that we can actually collapse it so that things happen more quickly.
All right, so we use that word, collapsing time. Yes. So let's dive right back into the conclusion of this conversation, so then we can also move into a card reading for the two of you. So where were we?
Well,
I think
had
Nick had
last
one more question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
My last question really is there any signs that now, I mean, do we know what future lives will look like? Is there any signs to what my post life will look like, where I'll be next? Or is that just completely unwritten yet?
That's a good question. First, I want to talk about signs in this life because you triggered something that I think is important for you to know. As you're manifesting something and you're taking these actions that your intuition said to take, or you're doing some of these things on your own that your intuition, didn't mention, you will see signs that will dictate this is the right path, this feels good, or, oh no, this is the wrong path, this feels bad. So you want to pay attention to those signs in this life.
Okay.
In terms of other lifetimes, okay, perfect. In terms of other lifetimes, it's my belief that some of those are already created because time is not the same here. And so we already know if we've had past lives in certain situations, we more than not, we almost always will live the opposite situation. So even in this life, we're creating situations where we're going to want to live the opposite in another one, but there's past lives where that's going to be, made right, where things are going to be balanced and evened out.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It does, actually, really well. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
And Sherry, just for the viewers, in regards to, and if you could do this very briefly anyway, regarding the Akashi records, because you were getting this information from his Akashi records?
Essentially, I like to tell people who they are at soul level because who you are at soul level can dictate how your soul desires to create and sort of your soul's path and a little bit of your life purpose and things like that. So I like to tell people who they are at soul level because I believe it inspires them to be in alignment in this life.
Awesome. And now if the viewers were interested in learning more about Akashi records or soul levels, is that something you teach?
Essentially, it's not something I'm teaching. But most people access their Akashic record already and don't necessarily know that's what they're doing. And so I like to help people understand who they are at soul level and how they manifest, and then teach them about intuition. And if their Akashic record is accessible, boom, they have access to it.
Awesome. Excellent. Yeah, because that was just sort of coming up for me in regards to that if you are teaching that right now, or if there's a way, because I'm sure at this point in time, there are so many viewers, similar to with Nick's question regarding like, what does the future hold, and is there a future for most? And I mean, I would sit back and say we all have a future, definitely. But if the records and the soul purpose would be able to give that information to them.
Your Akashic record is not about your future. It will dictate what your future contains based on past energy, and we're really habitual usually as humans anyway. Mm-hmm. And so your Akashic record is all about your past. You're creating your future.
Awesome. Yes, I'm glad we've clarified that. Yes. All right, so thank you so much, Nick, for being so transparent today and allowing Sherry to dive into your records and dive into the information, and even from 6 weeks ago for being as transparent as you were in the show to going back to that space of, getting a better understanding of why you don't like doctors so much, or why you decided not to want to be a doctor. And Sherry, also thank you so much for demonstrating the work that you do. I think the work that you do is so important and inspiring as well, and definitely very helpful for anybody who's interested in learning more about who they are. So thank you for demonstrating and doing what you are doing. So I appreciate that. So with
My
that
pleasure.
being,
It's my goal for people to use their intuition in day-to-day life, for it to be just mainstream.
yes, yes. And as Nick was just pointing out today, and what he's starting to learn more about himself, is that he's starting to really use his own intuition, where it's really becoming apparent for him. So that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a powerful tool when we do learn how to use our intuition, and we can literally believe that it is our intuition that's guiding us. So with that being said, I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this for both of you today in regards to a card reading. Now, for my viewers, just in case they're not aware of what I do, if it's the first time you're watching, and remember, share, like, and comment on today's show. What I always like to do is I like to ask the guests if they are interested in receiving, I've been calling it a cosmic energy soul reading, as opposed to the long name, the chakra balance, numerology, cosmic energy forecast, which is really long. But I like to offer my guests the opportunity of getting a reading based on something they may have a question about, or if they're looking just to hear what the universe has in store for them. And I'm going to go with the individual reading, because I think we could do this in the time frame that we have, hopefully, and see where we go with it. So, Nick, for you, which way would you like to go about it? Actually, before you answer that question, I'm actually being guided to ask the two of you to do this together. I just heard both of them together, something a little different. So, for both of you, would you want a universe guidance, or do you have a specific question that you would want to ask?
For me, I feel like I have many questions I want to ask, so I think a universal guidance works for me.
Okay, and Sherry?
What they want to...
Yeah, I would say exactly the same. I have too many questions, so let's just go with universal guidance.
Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is I'm shuffling a card on behalf of both of you. And I find that sometimes to be really fun, because how one card can actually resonate with more than one person. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for us to show that today, to demonstrate how one card can really answer for so many people. So let's see what we have going on here. And it's really, really funny that this card is showing up today. Manifestation. Manifestation. And isn't that basically the whole whole theme of our show today? Is manifestation. So based on what the both of you have regarding, you both have so many questions that you can be asking, a lot of it is, as we've been discussing, it's about what the intention is. And my belief is whatever our intention is, as long as we put action behind that intention, then we can manifest it into our experience. And as Sherry was saying before, it doesn't matter if that intention is something that might be 10 years from now, where we can literally, what was the term you used, collapsing time? Mm-hmm. Yeah, where we can really collapse the time and manifest that into experiencing it like tomorrow, as opposed to having to wait 10 years. So I think this is really a confirmation card for both of you, both knowing that whatever it is you're looking to really bring into your reality, that you do both have the ability to manifest it. And definitely, like for Nick, for you specifically, something that may take 10 years, this is definitely confirming that all you need to do is manifest it to happen. If you want it to happen in a year, all you got to do is set the reality and take the action steps for that to happen for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And it really fits in with a lot of the questions I had going into the show today about, especially about the future and time frames.
Yes.
Whether or not I have control over it or not. And so I definitely come out of this thinking that I have, if not total control, at least some control over time frames.
Yes. And I think for Sherry, the word manifestation, that's such an old word for you. I mean, because you do that every single day. Everything that you've desired, I truly believe you have definitely used all the tools that you work with to bring into your reality. So I don't think you're questioning your manifestation at all. And is that true? I don't think you question it. I think you're definitely very much in that 7th chakra and even in your 8th chakra of allowing yourself to be where you need to be and having that connection.
Yeah. It's interesting because within my own Akashic record, my power center, my energy center that is most dominant is my 7th. And so essentially what that card was telling me is that I am here to create my own reality. So it's just a confirmation that I'm a creator and I need to get creating if I want something new.
Exactly, exactly. And I'm loving the number here, which is 1 and 9. The 1 is all about a new way of doing things. And I believe that with everything that's been going on with the pandemic over the last 17 weeks or so, this is definitely giving everybody the understanding that yes, we all do need to do something new, and what we've been doing in the past is old already. So we have to make changes so we can have something new. So changes is definitely something that needs to take place here, changing the way you manifest. And that 9 energy is about letting us know that we are definitely, or letting the 2 of you know that you are definitely on a path of transforming what it is you want to manifest into your realities. So whatever doubts you might have had regarding, is this going to happen for me? Yes, it's going to happen. All you have to do is set the intention, take the action plan, and make it happen for you. Which when we think of 1 and 9, it really is about a new way of doing things and new opportunities definitely coming in. So I think that's a really powerful card. Does it resonate for both of you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the perfect card. I mean, it was funny because if you had said, you know, oh, I'm going to pull the manifest card, I would have laughed. And I think that it made complete sense for that card to come out now.
Definitely does. Definitely does. Awesome. So I'm glad that card resonated for both of you, and I find it really interesting that that's the card that showed up today. And the chakra associated, as said, is all about the crown chakra, really connecting on a higher level to what it is that we really want to create into our realities. And we do have full capacity and power to do just that. So with that all being said, one last time, Sherry, let the viewers know how they can reach you.
They can reach me at SherrySimpson.com. So that's SherrySimpson, or at sherrysimpson.com.
And Nick, for you?
Corcoran.com/NickRafter or NickRafter@gmail.com. Also, I should have mentioned that I have a blog, NickRafterWrites.com. And this week I'll be actually publishing a piece. I started writing it this weekend about the hypnosis and the path in the past life that Sherry guided me on last month. I meant to write it a month ago, but I started writing it this weekend. So that'll be up at some point this week.
Awesome. All right,
Excellent.
guys. Thank you so much for both of you for being here. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to do a really quick conclusion for today's show. Thank you again for both of you for being here and sharing all that you're doing. We'll be right back.
I'm Nick Rafter, native New Yorker and realtor. Looking for a new home or selling your current one is a stressful process. I'm here to make it a lot easier. I work with sellers, buyers, renters, and landlords in the 5 boroughs of New York City and in Nassau and Suffolk counties. My brokerage, Corcoran, offers state-of-the-art services to allow you to market your property to the greatest number of potential buyers or renters. And if you're the one moving, we have thousands of listings ready for you to check out. So give me a call at 347-610-9765 today, and let's talk about how to make your decision to move a lot less stressful.
Hello, are you an entrepreneur, healer, author, publisher, life coach, or living in purpose? I am Reverend Joanne Angel Barry Cologne, the host of Joanne's Healing Within TV show. And I am currently accepting guest applications for those of you who are ready to shine your light, inspire others, and share your story, and step in front of a much larger audience, such as Roku, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and of course Facebook. I am currently offering special rates for those of you who are interested in inspiring others and shining your light. Email your bio and story to healingwithin76@gmail.com. Hello and welcome back to Joanne's Healing Within. I am your host, Joanne Angel Barry Cologne. And if you are just hopping in now, share, like, and comment, and then come back later to watch the replay or check us out on Roku or Amazon Fire TV, to catch today's show. I'd like to remind you that it is Sunday, and tonight at 8 p.m. on my Facebook page, I will be offering Sunday free readings. Feel free to catch me there, and I will be able to answer any question you have. And we have a lot of fun during that live Facebook reading because I actually bring you guys on the show with me. Also, again, as my commercial just mentioned, I am currently offering guest and advertising sponsorship applications. Feel free to send your bio to healingwithin76@gmail.com. And again, for those of you who are interested in getting your own personal one-on-one cosmic energy soul reading, this is a great time to do just that. Feel free to either call 646-236-9155 or email healingwithin76@gmail.com. That's all we got for today, so I look forward to connecting with each and every one of you next week. Have yourself an awesome, awesome day. And remember, this is August. Anything is possible in the month of August. Bye-bye for now.